met Daddy. She said he told her that morning he was sick. Back then, you know, you had to go down to the country store and leave a order for the doctor for a house call, and he would come. Doctor would come. Yeah, he would come down to the office and pick up the house calls, and then he'd make them. So Mom said that Dad told her that morning he's sick, he couldn't go to work. So she went down to the store and left a call for Dr. Thompson.
Who was that?
Breezeville. And she said that the doctor hadn't come, you know. So Daddy got up in the day, Mama said, and was out in the yard playing marbles, a game of marbles, just as the doctor came. They knocked on the door. Mama didn't know he was out there, though. She was busy doing something else, and she didn't know he was out there. And she went to the door and told the doctor to come on in and took him into the bedroom, but Daddy wasn't in there. And he was out in the yard playing marbles with a bunch of boys.
What did the doctor do?
Nothing. He just went on.
Did he have to write that on his excuse to go back to work?
Well, back then...
Or you just called the doctor, the camp doctor?
Yeah, it wasn't no... back then, there wasn't no union, there wasn't nothing. They just took so much $1 or 75 cents.
You just lost $2 for that day. Oh, you working. That's about what it was, I did.
Oh, about all that. And back then, back years ago, they were on the gold standard. And I can remember this. Uncle Rand, they jumped on Uncle Rand. Back then they called them yellow 20s. They were, I don't know whether they had... No, they were bills. You'd get bills, you'd get gold pieces of money. And he called Aunt Daisy Shooty. He had laid out all night or something, and somebody come and told on him about him feeling this woman's leg. And he'd been feeling that woman's leg. And she said, Rand, you dirty old thing, you. She said, what in this world do you mean anyhow, feeling that woman's leg? He said, why, Sheepy, honey, said she had a yellow 20 and I just rubbed it.
Yellow 20.
He was Mama said that many times he'd come in and Aunt Daisy would always have a hired girl. And back then you you'd wash dishes in a dish pan, you know.
You got no Rand coffee, that's what they did.
Mama said that he come in one evening and she happened to be over there. And you know, back here, the men used to use brilliantine for their hair. And Uncle Rand didn't have no brilliantine, and Mama said he went in. No, he had pretty good. Mom said he went in there and the hard girl had left the big pan of water sitting there, you know, and they didn't have dish detergent. They used laundry soap, old yellow laundry soap, or lye soap. And Mom said he used to went in there and lay his hands up on all that grease.
Laid it back in there.
Put it back in there. Mom said, Lord, really? Oh, he said, Mari, that's the best stuff you ever did.
He went out and told it turned white as her hair.
Mama said he just took that comb and just combed it back and it's as slick as it can be.
I tell you, I've seen him, I guess, over my lifetime, I've seen him probably 40 times. So Dad liked to go down there. And every time I would go down there, I never paid a lot of attention to him until I saw Clyde Rainey. And when I saw Clyde Rainey, there's Rand Copley.
Well, I'll tell you what, one time, he, you know, after Aunt Daisy died, he married again, and he married a younger woman, Martha Canterbury, and they had some children. And he lived down there below where Brother Browning lives at Rex. And Uncle Rand, he was something else, I'm telling you. And Bill Doug and Carrie was married then, and he said something about going down, Uncle Rand. And I said, I'd like to go down there with you, and I went down there with him. And Uncle Rand was over behind the stove. We had one of these old company houses with a big old round hot belly stove, yeah. And Uncle Rand always wore long underwear. He'd come in and just washed, you know, down there. And he had this long underwear hanging down around his ear, had his belt on his pants, and had this long underwear, and he was sitting with a churn between his legs. had a buttermilk with like that.
Oh, girl.
That's funky, is it? He just run his finger around that lid, you know, and you said, boy, that butter's coming up.
Coming up fast.
He was sucking on top of
I didn't know him very well. I just knew him. I remember little Doug.
How's that thing, Daisy?
Well, how old was she when she died?
The chocolate out of it,
What?
She said, gee, you look like Bill Henderson.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, she looks like Bill. Don't you think she looks like Bill?
Yeah, I know.
Bill used to be good looking.
Big
Bill.
guy.
Bill still is, if you can get him dressed.
Yeah,
Yeah, she said that they didn't have no car. Their car was spoiled. They didn't have anyone in. She said that she could, they only had to stay for the day. As well as I can remember, the black, back then they had ponies in the mines. And this,
Well, me was 9 years old and 2 years.
Mommy had a picture, Daddy, up on the mountain. We lived at Freeport when I was a little girl.
Dad told me.
And I saw the picture. He had a little round face like Bill, and had a dinner bucket, one of these similar, what we call a dinner deck in the bottom. And he was standing up with a bank cap on, his work shoes, and the bucket was on the ground. He had his hand holding it. It was on the ground. But that's one thing that I always held against.
I've never heard that story. Have this right with
You go break.
I want to know from the one.
Well, I could. No,
Tell me about. I want to know about the birth and the death.
Well, I guess this was the third child.
Or about Barney Elizabeth.
Well, I'm going to tell you about Juanita.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I can remember. I can't remember when Juanita was born, but I can remember when Juanita died. I can remember us riding in that old Maxwell car that Daddy had, and Mommy had on a veil on over her face. Here, I can remember she had a hat on and had a veil on, and she was crying. But I can't remember then. From Danette on. But I can remember we lived below the Tipple at Freeport when Fist was born. I don't remember exact what went on, but I can remember Mommy. There was a colored lady lived in the camp above us. The colored people didn't live in the white people's camp. They lived above the Tipple and the white people lived below. That's what separated the black and the white. And when Fist was born, this colored lady come to take care of Mommy. And she wanted to give me a bath. And I told her nothing doing. She wouldn't about to bath me. And she says, honey, you just let me wash you, because she said all this black won't wash off on you. And Mommy had, after that, Mommy, I can remember another thing that happened. Mom had Sis wrapped up in a blanket in one of those cane bottom rockers, big rocking chair, and had her up in front of a fire. They had fireplaces, that's all you had then. And I was rocking her, and I stood and rocked her too much, and she went up on the grate and rolled that back out on the floor. And the blanket caught fire. And I scared Mommy to death. And she run in there and got her. And I can remember that. I can remember when Bill was born. We lived in a 3-roomed house, on down lower in the camp in one of the 3-roomed houses. And it was cold weather.
Mom had a hard time.
Yeah.
She had every morning.
And I can remember when Bill was born, they had took me next door, me and Sis, St. Daisy's. Uncle Rand's, they lived next door. And when Bill was born, and when they brought me and Sis home, they told us we had a little brother. And that's the first washing machine I ever saw. Daddy bought Mommy a washing machine, and Aunt Lily come to wash for Mommy, and she had on a dress. It had strings around the neck.
Had what?
Had strings around the neck like a tie. And she got them hung in the washing machine. And Mommy had to get out of bed and go reverse that wringer to get her out.
I see her neck as against that neck.
I can remember that, and I remember another thing that happened there in the very same place. Daddy worked on night shift. He couldn't call it preschool. And Daddy come in from work. He worked all night long, and he come in and told Mommy to get up and build a fire in the cook stove. And all of us was in the bed with Mom, and she got up in her sleep.
How many bed was there?
Well, there's 3 of us. And Mommy got up in her sleep and took Daddy's white shirts. I don't know how many she had, but anyway, that she had got waste out of coal cars to build fire with, and she took that white shirt and that waste and built a fire under my pillow behind. I was in the back of the side of the bed, and it burned a hole in the side of the wall. And Daddy got up. I screamed. I jumped up. I guess I kept moving, from the mattress was on fire, and I kept moving toward the front. And I jumped up and got to the foot of the bed, and I screamed the house was on fire. And Daddy come through there, and Mommy jumped up out of sleep. And she said, "What's going on here?" And Daddy hauled off and slapped the face off of her and waked her up. And took the other 2 kids in the other room, put them in the other bed, and he pulled that mattress out and throwed it outside.
That's when y'all come back home, though.
Huh? What?
That happened by the time Sis had been born.
Oh, that was when Bill was a baby.
Okay, that's when Bill.
That was when a baby. That's just another thing that I remembered.
But Bill was born in that little house down below there, then.
That's where Bill was born, little 3-room house at Freesport below the temple. It was way on down in the camp there, next closer to the company store. I guess they'd get him down there where you get him some broke up.
Yeah.
But there's some real funny things happened, Now, that's where we lived in that house the first year that I ever tried to go to school. You went to school when you was 5 years old in the primer. And I remember going to school, and we walked from Freesport to Ethel to school. And Mommy had bought me a red raincoat. I didn't have a little coat, and I wore that raincoat all winter long. No red raincoat in the snow. And the first year I went to school, I didn't know, to come on home, and I got with Jimmy Snodgrass. And went in her house and stayed till it got dark, and I didn't know, I didn't really know how to get out of there and go on home. And Mommy sent John looking for me. And Daddy was on day shift then, and when John come down there, he come Jimmy Snodgrass, knocked on the door, and I was there. So they hustled me out there, and John took me up that railroad track. He said, "Your daddy is going to kill you when you get home. He's going to beat you to death." And I was scared to death. I went at the back door trying to get in, just a little kid, That's
first grade, I guess.
Wasn't in the first grade.
That's a primer.
Well,
I wasn't in first grade.
Okay.
Was that school is Ethel, right?
Yeah. And I stayed with Primer about 2 or 3 years. Because I took the mumps and the measles and everything come by, I had it. And I'm trying to think where we moved.
Well, who was the next one born? Sam, right?
Great Jimmy.
No, Bill was there.
Bill was born down at 3-room house.
Okay.
And it seems to me like, now, if I can remember just right, if I got my story straight, we moved down below the store on the corner where...
Is that where that friend
No. That's where you went up Ethel Hall. There used to be a logging outfit. Old man Polly owned the logging outfit up in Heather Holler. And we lived right there in the corner. Yeah, old man Polly, Daniel Polly. And we lived there on the corner. Bill was a small baby when we lived there. I can remember that. That's the first radio that I ever saw. It was in Atwater, Kent. It was long like this. Right. And it was made like a box.
Was it dome shaped like coffee, or was it made square?
No. It was, as well as I can remember, it was about this long.
About 3 feet?
And it was about this wide.
About a foot wide.
And had a horn up on the top of it. At Atwater, Kent, I remember Daddy got it from somebody, second-handed. And everybody would come down there, you know, and try to listen to the fights on Saturday night. I can remember that so well. Uncle Henry Henderson used to get up, he'd get down in front of it, and he'd get like this right up to his ear, and he'd say, "Hey, what'd they say? What'd he do that time?" He called Daddy P-Knuckles.
Peanut.
That's what he called Daddy P-Knuckles.
Well, did they call Dad Peavy back then?
Yeah, but Uncle Henry called, yeah. Daddy had always been called Peavy. All his life he was called Peavy.
Was that where Sam was born?
No. We
Well,
moved
there
from
any
there.
miscarriages in there?
I don't know about those. We moved from there and moved to Ethel.
Well, I thought that was.
Well, wait a minute. We moved to Ethel, and that's where Vernon Elizabeth was born. This is where I stole the watermelon. So I never will forget it. There used to be a little old man coming in a little old Ford truck. It had been a rumble seat, and he had cut it out and made him a bed in it for a truck. And he would buy junk, you know, tires and things. And I sold him one tire 3 times, about 15 cents a nickel each time. He'd start off and I'd pull it off for him. He'd run down the road or run up the road, you know, up behind them houses. And I'd see him again, I'd sell him another tire. It's the same one. I sold it 3 times. About 15 cents. Well, then he come through there selling watermelons. You could get a watermelon for $0.50. And I was playing with some kids on up camp there, and I don't know, I never cared about watermelon. I don't know what made me do that, but that watermelon fell off the back of that truck and must have got a hold of that watermelon and turned it loose.
It probably got you rolling.
And I just held on to it, and it scared me so bad that I don't know who I was with. I believe I was with Elvis Souther's kids, Clyde and Beatrice, because that's who I was playing with. And I went behind those houses. I was scared to death afraid that man missed that watermelon. See how kids are? They tell things on themselves. And I come down the back of those houses home, and we busted that watermelon on a rock and tried to eat it. And Lord, I couldn't eat that watermelon. It was in a hot summertime, and I couldn't eat that watermelon. I see that to this day, busting that watermelon on a rock and trying to eat it. And that's kids in there. And that's where Vernon Elizabeth was born. And then we moved back to Freeze Fork and moved up the holler in another 3 roofs, and that's where Sam was born. Little Doug Copley was staying with us when Sam was born. In
Well, did Vernon Elizabeth
1933.
die before you moved back up there?
Yeah, they found her dead in bed. She lived to be about 6 weeks old. When we lived there.
She died there at Ethel.
Where I stole the watermelon.
You think it was a crib damage?
Yeah.
Did you see on the news that night that they were filming
Well, I know that. And he wasn't born there. That's where Jim was born, in Pig Alley. And you was born at Yolan.
Do you remember Vernon Elizabeth when she died?
Yeah. Sure do.
Found
in bed.
So let's see
So what did they do?
I was-
Bring these babies back home and visit with them? And what did they do?
Did you go to the cemetery?
No.
They had the funeral and everything. What?
I was trying to think. Back then, people didn't let their kids go to the cemetery. They wasn't allowed to go. It's just the grown-ups.
Really?
There wasn't enough cars and
remember,
things
I
to take
remember
them, you
when
know.
Well, we'll get on that.
There wasn't transportation.
Okay. Then Sam was born. Dad moved back to Freeport.
Yeah, Freeze
Was he
Fork.
changing jobs, or
Yeah,
was it 2 different
different companies, yeah. He worked for Chilton Block Coal Company, and he went back to Freeze Fork Wood Coal
Were they all
Company.
buried in the same place there at Foley?
Yes, ma'am, every one of them. Every one of them born.
I remember going up there and helping Mom there decorate.
Then they went back to Freeport. Then Sam
was born, 1933.
Yeah, March,
32 or 33.
March 29th.
29th of March, 33. I can remember there was a lady who lived next door to us, and her name was Mrs. Lafferty, and she had two or three kids, and me and Sis and Bill went over there the night that Sam was born and stayed there till the next day. See, they sent the children away from home then. You didn't stay in the house, so Mom never had, she never went to the doctor till she called him. Daddy, go get him. The father, go get the doctor and bring him. Dad had to walk to Ethel and get doctor. Rode back with him.
Who was the doctor?
Dr. McClellan. He delivered every one of Mama's kids but me.
Who delivered you?
Nobody.
You came by yourself.
I came by myself. The doctor didn't even mention Mama's name. Delivered when he...
That's why you're so independent.
Yeah. That's right, I come on my own.
From where, Frank?
They...
Well, we got Sam born.
Okay. Who else you want?
You got Jim in there.
Well, Jim was born at Ethel.
And then Dad moved back to Ethel? Changed
He
jobs
moved
again?
from Three Squirrels.
Turn those things
Wait a
make
minute.
you look like you got a weight on.
He moved from Three Squirrels to Argyle. Up below Hetzel. When Bill, Sam was, boy, wait a minute. Man, he done some moving, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, that's what I've been trying to figure out for so long, you know. If you can tell me how the kids were born, where they were born,
I can tell you where everyone of them was born.
yeah, well then, we was talking about Jim being born there at Ethel, and we talked about
Yeah,
Ethel.
but wait a minute, let me see. Daddy went to work for Hutchison Coal Company at Yowan, up there by, now wait a minute, I'll back up here just a little bit. That was after I was married. Wait a minute, no, Mom and Dad moved from Freesfork, if I remember right, after Sergeant Elizabeth died. They moved from back up to, and Sam was born. Well, Tom, I'd have to study. But he did live, we did move to Argyle up at Hetzel. And that's where Mommy had let Bill go next door in that big old boarding house where Red Brown, if you remember Red Brown,
Yeah.
Red Brown was working, him and Daddy was working at Argyle. And it come a big rain. And Bill was small, and he had been over there at Red Brown's, and some people lived in that old store, and went to bed, and they thought that he had got drowned, and they was dragging the creek beds. That is, they come to see it and got Dad out of bed at Ethel, and he went back, he waded the creek, trying to find Bill from Freesfork up to Argyle, almost to Hetzel, George's Creek. We lived just down below George's Creek there.
Where's George's Creek at?
It's now it's not the Argyle, it's above Freesfork there. It's up the head.
Argyle is where I was.
No, that was in the Argyle number 2.
Oh,
There's 2 Argyle. Yola was that place,
Yeah.
but the other was
Argyle was up toward,
Hetzel, up George's Creek. That's
Blair Mountain?
Yeah, Hetzel was the post office, but they called it Georgia Street.
Okay. Yeah, I know where it's at now. And then they moved back to Ethel.
That's where they come to move our dog. There at Ethel. And Daddy was, that's where Uncle Jim was killed. Jim was born, that's where Jim got his name from, Uncle Jim Met. Over across. Jim was born there. We moved over across at Nancy Sneed's house. Nancy Sneed moved down the road where the old theater, post office, and store and everything used to be. And we moved over to their house, and that's where me and Molly got married. And then, Mom and Dad moved from there to Yolen. That's where you was born.
And on and all of them too.
That's where you was born.
Okay, now there was one. What did Bobby?
Mom and Dad moved twice up Ethel Hall. Because Aunt Pearl stayed with Mommy when Bobby was born. Because Mommy, Aunt Surrey stayed with Mommy when Verna Elizabeth was born. Because she named her Surrey. And when Bobby was born, Aunt Pearl come and stayed with Mommy. So, my dad said, I'm telling you what Bobby. He was born off up where Verna Elizabeth was born. Yola. They moved from Yola. They moved from Yola up Ethel Holler. And that's where Bobby was born. And Aunt Pearl stayed with Mommy. And she named him, called him Robert Wetzel, after an old boyfriend she had. Because she was already there. And I had already had Verna. See, you and Verna both were older than him. They moved where they lived almost in that creek there. And they moved there, back to Ethel, there at the bridge where that man fell off that bridge into the creek over Don Woody and that front end, and that's where Betty Ann was born. And they moved from there. Over here.
Forward, Jerry.
No. There, they moved over here to Raglan, behind the store, second or third house behind the store at Raglan. And from Raglan, they moved over here.
Where was Jerry from?
That's when they lived there in the alley before she got pregnant with you. She was just
He was
there.
before me.
He was 5. She was 5 months pregnant. Yeah. Right.
And she aborted him?
Huh?
Was he an abortion?
No.
He was
He was a miscarriage. He was
I mean, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
You know. She had a natural abortion.
Yeah.
And he was 5 months long.
5 or 6 months.
And they went ahead and named him Brady.
Yeah, Daddy had bought him a casket and put little clothes on it. No, you didn't have to. His arm, the night before it was around his neck. No, around his arm. And one of the arms was elbow was in front where the night before it was.
Wrapped around.
Choked him there.
Well done. And then we moved to Ethel. Patty was there.
Well, we can see.
I know it, and I can't get it straightened out this evening.
Now Patty was born.
1943. You go right there beside the bridge.
That's where the snake is.
That's the snake.
You fell in the ditch.
Mm-hmm. That's Robert Wetzel and Dad's brother Robert, and Uncle Henry, and Dad and a few others. I've got them there, but I don't know. I could burn Elizabeth, and there's 2 or 3 of them I have, not all of them are there. When Patty was, well, I wasn't going to school when Patty was born. I know that. But I did go to school from Freesport. See, they must have moved after Patty died.
They moved about 3 or 4 times from Ethel to Freesport.
I know it. But now, after Patty died, they apparently must have moved to Freesport. That right across the bridge there, next to the creek.
Yeah, because I was living here. Wait a minute. And during that time, Dad went to Elk Creek. That was before Patty. Where'd that come in? You got her to first. It was after Bobby was born, I believe. Elk Creek.
You're talking about gold.
Daddy and Mom moved to, they moved to Laredo. When I was pregnant with you.
Janice?
Daddy and Mom lived at Laredo when I was pregnant. Oh, that was long before these kids were okay. That was years ago. That when I was a little child.
Well, now, I was born, like I say, at Yoland, Argyle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, from there, back to Ethel, or Freesport. No, it must be Ethel, because Patty was born at Ethel.
Moved up there for home.
See, now I was born in 37, Patty's born in 43.
Yeah, but...
That's 6 years. Now, there was 2 born in between there. There was Robert, and there was
Now,
Jerry.
when they moved, let me tell you something. When they moved from down there on Big Alley,
Yeah. After Jim.
she done had Jerry.
Was born in Big Alley, too?
Yeah, and she was pregnant with you. They moved to Rome. And that's where you was.
Were you at home for him? You was married then? Well, you don't remember much about that little escapade, didn't you?
Then you moved, and they moved. They lived until, I don't know how long they lived there. The mine shaft. And it seemed to me like they moved to Oklahoma where Bobby was. Because I lived there beside the pool.
I don't remember. One time I remember you living up Ethel when you lived out at Plymouth before that snake was killed.
Well,
Up there where
You
Big
all
Dick
lived-
Johnson lived at one time.
so you all moved, that must have been, they moved up. Because when Bobby was born, Mom and Daddy lived at Ethel Hall in a 4-room house. They lived up there about 3 times.
I know it. That's why it's so confusing for
Yeah.
everybody.
Let's see, from there. He moved to Emmett.
I knew it. I knew they lived there.
Yeah.
There somewhere.
She lost Bobby. They moved.
How old was Bobby?
She got it.
That's two she had at the crib down.
He was about 3 weeks old or 2 weeks old, just a time baby. Because Vernon was about it.
Him and Robert must have been born not too damn far apart.
Mom was pregnant at the time I was.
Yeah.
And then there, that's where I'm getting this confused. I just can't get it right. Maybe I can see
Where were
it.
you going to school at?
Me?
Yeah, before all this.
I went to school with Ethel when Mom and Dad
Is that
lived.
the only place you went to school? How long ago?
8th grade. Well, I'm a dumb Dory, son. Don't kid yourself. I'm a dumb Dory.
No, that ain't got nothing to do with it, but I'm
Let's see, I never went to
If you
school.
went to school at Ethel for 8 years, and you say you went to Primer 3,
2 years.
so that, you went to the 8th grade, so that meant you went 10 years to Ethel.
No, I wasn't that big. I was 16 when I quit. So I'd had to went. I started when I was 5.
Well, if I can't get this straightened out with you, I'm never going to get straightened out.
Well, I'll get straight. Don't say I'm a little foggy
I'm
headed.
gonna talk.